Hey friends, Ash here with Gents, coming at you guys with a new fragrance review today from the house of Bentley, the same Bentley that makes these super expensive luxury vehicles. This fragrance is from their new Beyond collection, which is 3 new fragrances that they've released, and these are by far Bentley's most expensive fragrances to date. The fragrance that we'll be taking a look at today is this one, Wild Vetiver. They also have a fragrance called Majestic Cashmere and a fragrance called Exotic Musk. So those 3 fragrances make up the Beyond collection, which goes for 180 euros. You can find this at discounters, including Max Aroma. Max Aroma is who sent this fragrance to me for review, so a shout out to Max Aroma. I'm going to leave a link to them in the description below. If you're in the market for a new niche or designer fragrance, make sure to check out Max Aroma. They sell authentic products at great prices. I'm also going to be giving away an $88 gift card to Max Aroma in this video. So stay tuned for that, because one of you out there will win that. You can put it toward a new fragrance. We'll take a look at the presentation in this video like always. I'll break this one down for you guys, let you know how it smells to me, and let you know whether this is a fragrance you should check out or not. So without further ado, let's jump into this. First off, guys, let's check out this presentation, and then I'll break the fragrance down a little bit and let you know my general thoughts on this one and vetiver-based fragrances in general, really. So here's a look at the box, and I'll bring this up close here in a moment so you can get a better look at it, but I'm going to show it to you this way first because this one opens like so. It's not your typical box that you'll open a flap and pull the bottle out that way. This one opens like this, and then your bottle sits down inside of here. Now, this cutout is foam, so the inside of this box here is foam. It does not have like a velvety feel or anything like that. Your bottle sits right in here, so like that. And the box itself has like a slight rubberized pleather kind of feel to it. So here's a good look of it. You can see there, Bentley Beyond the collection. This one is Wild Vetiver, and this is based around Java. And then on the back of the box, you're going to have your typical information, the ingredients, the concentration, etc. Your badge code is printed right here at the bottom of the box. And one thing that you will notice from this fragrance is that Bentley's fragrances are actually done by Lalique. So you can see that right down there, Lalique Beauty. Lalique, of course, very well known for the Encre Noir line of fragrances, which is a line of fragrances based around vetiver. And here is a good look at the bottle. And this is a very heavy bottle. It's got a good amount of heft to it. It does look very nice. There you have it, Bentley Wild Vetiver. You can see the Bentley logo right here. It's got this leather wrap around the cap, nothing on top of the cap. It does click into place, but not very snugly or tightly. This is one that you will 100% never ever want to try to lift by the cap. I know a lot of you will ask in the comments, why would you ever lift a bottle by the cap? But lots of people do that when they're pulling it out of their cabinet. If you do that with this one, there's a high likelihood that you'll lift the bottle just a little, the cap will come off, and the bottle will fall and potentially break. On the bottom, you're going to have your sticker with your badge code. And this does have a cool design with the glass, that little design that you can see cut out of the glass. It's supposed to mimic the look of a Bentley's headlights. And I'll go ahead and waste a spray for you guys here. There we go, it's a good atomizer. So I guess before I start talking about the fragrance or breaking it down at all, I'll give you guys just a quick rundown on my thoughts on vetiver. So vetiver is a note that to me is extremely versatile. You can wear vetiver prominent fragrances in almost any situation. You can find a vetiver-based scent that will work, is what I mean. They typically have good longevity, good projection. They can come across very gentlemanly, sophisticated, refined, mature, grown up, whatever. Vetiver puts across an air of authority to me. Now, all that being said, there are expensive vetiver fragrances. There are mid-level vetiver fragrances, and there are cheap vetiver fragrances that all smell amazing. So you run into an issue sometimes with higher priced vetiver fragrances where you might say, but is it really worth it? Because you can pick up something like this, Guerlain Vetiver, very, very cheaply from a discounter. And this fragrance, Guerlain Vetiver, is a fantastic vetiver-based scent. It's going to smell mature, grown up, but not stuffy. It's going to be versatile. It's going to be something that you can wear formally. You can wear to the office. You can wear it casually. Ticks a lot of boxes, and it's not going to run you very much. So when you have something like this that you can pick up for 30 bucks, and then somebody says, yeah, but this one for 200, that is a great vetiver. Is the difference in quality between this at 200 and this at 30 worth it? And yeah, I know I'm just kind of throwing out 200 for this fragrance. It just came out. Prices on this I would expect to drop in the future, so I'm just kind of making that point as it stands right now. And really, you could put that toward any vetiver fragrance, any niche vetiver fragrance, and say, is it worth it though, compared to something like this, Ancre Noir Sport? You can pick this up for next to nothing. So that kind of factors in a little bit when you're talking about fragrances that make vetiver the focal point. And I'll talk about that a little bit as we go. Now, the first time that I sprayed this on, Wild Vetiver, I was disappointed. I did not think that it was worth the money. It actually hit me kind of like an alcohol blast, and green and a little bit abrasive, and just wasn't doing it for me. I didn't like it. Now, I'm not sure if it's just because maybe I smelled too soon, sprayed it and got over anxious and smelled it while it was still settling. That could be it. Maybe it was just the first blast for whatever reason, or maybe I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, first time I smelled this, did not like it. That being said, this has grown on me tremendously since I first sprayed this fragrance on. I've given this a lot of wear since I first got this in, and as I just mentioned, it's grown on me a lot, and I don't get that same vibe anymore that I first got. Like I said, when very first time I sprayed this on, hated it. Thought it sucked. Off the top, it's got a blend of bergamot and verbena, lemon verbena. They give it kind of a brisk freshness. And then the vetiver I pick up right away. The vetiver here comes across dry to me, a little bit dusty. It's got kind of a smoky edge initially off the top. As it dries down, that smokiness kind of fades away. But in that opening, you've got this mix of notes. You've got the bergamot and the lemon verbena here, and then the vetiver doing something completely different, but they jive together really well. So you have this fresh, kind of clean citrus vibe over here, kind of a green feeling, and then on the other side, a deeper, slightly smoky, dusty vetiver. There is pepper, black pepper, listed as a top note in this fragrance, but I don't get a huge amount of black pepper. To me, it's more so the vetiver right away, and then the verbena and the bergamot. More so in the opening, the verbena for me than the bergamot. Now, there's a little touch of that black pepper mixing in, but to be honest, if it was not listed as a top note, I probably wouldn't smell this and say, oh, that's black pepper. It would be one of those things more like where I smell it and go, vetiver, verbena, maybe some spice, but I wouldn't be able to tell you guys, yeah, definitely black pepper. It doesn't come across strongly to me. It doesn't really make itself known. The opening to me, and the fragrance in general, comes across as more of a spring-centric kind of vetiver fragrance. You could wear it easily in fall as well. And that's because a lot of times those seasons kind of go hand in hand. I mean, sometimes you'll think of something a little deeper, richer in fall and a little more bright, refreshing in spring, but the temperatures a lot of times kind of sync up to where you can wear the same stuff. This fragrance also, I think you could pull off in winter or summer, though it's not as suited for those seasons. This again goes back to just vetiver prominent scents. They're really versatile. You can wear them year round a lot of times, and this one is the type of scent, got tongue-tied, that I think you could wear year round. Within 15 minutes, the briskness from the opening fades away. That verbena, the bergamot, it just kind of starts to dip out, and the vetiver becomes even more prominent. Now the vetiver, extremely noticeable in the opening, but 15 minutes in or so, that is really the star of the show. It's clean, it's dry, it does retain a little bit of that smokiness from the opening as well. It's not dirty, it's not skanky, it's not earthy or anything like that, and it does have that little bit of dustiness as well. There's a little bit of sweetness in the mid, but to me it's more nuance, and it kind of just helps offset the vetiver. It just gives it a little more depth, and I believe, at least going off of the note breakdown provided, that the sweetness is probably coming from the amber wood, because it doesn't come across like a citrus, doesn't come across like that bergamot, and like I said, the verbena fades out by the time you hit the mid. I would also guess that some of the smokiness here is coming from the birch. Birch is most well known as being used in Aventus. Just to be clear, Aventus has nothing whatsoever to do with this fragrance. Nothing. It's just the birch and Aventus is what is credited as giving it that smokiness. So the birch that's in here is likely providing a little bit of that smoky tinge that the vetiver gives off as this fragrance dries down. And this fragrance does retain that high quality vetiver feel through the dry down with that little touch of amberwood and birch, as I mentioned before, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of smokiness. Now in terms of how wild vetiver smells, for me, kind of falls somewhere between this one, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver Eau de Parfum, and 8 and Bob Nuit de Megève. So if you took these two fragrances, kind of combine them a little bit, you might end up with this one, Wild Vetiver. Wild Vetiver is not as clean as Grey Vetiver, and it's not as dark as Nuit de Megève. Wild Vetiver is just kind of between those two fragrances. In terms of quality, I think Wild Vetiver is quite good. I don't think it's on par with something like this, Nishane Sultan Vetiver, for example, but I do think that it is a high quality fragrance, a high quality vetiver. There's a lot of wearability here. It's very versatile. As I mentioned before, you could wear this year round. It does lean a little more as a daytime kind of scent to me. It's something that you could wear formally, something you could easily wear to the office, and something you could wear casually as well, assuming that you like vetiver that much. At the end of the day, the big hang up here is going to be the price. It's not cheap, and this is a Bentley fragrance. A lot of times people will view Bentley fragrances more as bang for your buck kind of scents. Bentley for Men Intense, for example, is a fragrance that people will say, wow, this smells expensive, this smells fantastic, lasts forever, and you can pick it up on the cheap. So people will view that as a great bang for your buck. And yeah, it's weird to talk about Bentley that way considering how expensive their cars are, but in terms of fragrances, that's how they're viewed. Again, throwing it back to Lalique, a little bit like the Ancre Noir fragrances. They're viewed as great bang for your buck fragrances. That's how Bentley is viewed. And these, as of this video, are not cheap. So people are going to have to kind of rectify that in their mind. Are they willing to pay X amount of dollars for a Bentley fragrance? This is almost like Bentley's private line of fragrances. It's like them dipping their toes in the water and seeing if they could maybe have a successful private line of fragrances. And these first three, Wild Vetiver, Exotic Musk, Majestic Cashmere, are leading the way. A lot of times, vetiver fragrances don't grab attention as much as some other notes that are used very prominently in men's fragrances. Your more sweet notes or things like ambroxan, stuff like that that's very popular nowadays. For me personally though, I love vetiver, all the uses it has, the versatility that it has. And this fragrance has that in spades. So while it is expensive, I think it's definitely worth checking out if at all possible if you're a huge fan of vetiver. The quality is here, the fragrance has grown on me, it's very, very nice. I love this one, which is a huge turnaround from when I first smelled it because I thought this sucked the first time that I smelled it. In terms of performance, it is above average, though not monstrous. It's actually fairly close to being in line with Grey Vetiver or Nuit de Megève, the fragrances that I compared it to. The longevity is 7+ hours for me, so I've got no issues there. Projection on this one is more moderate. It doesn't project really heavily, but it stays at a good enough range that anybody around me is going to be able to pick it up as I'm moving around or they're moving around me, which I say very often, but this is the type of scent that projects but not monstrously. And for me, that's actually right where this one should be. It has that more refined feel to it, and that more gentlemanly kind of feel to it. And with a fragrance like that, I don't want it assaulting the people around me, because then that's kind of counterproductive or counterintuitive to what I'm trying to put across. If I'm trying to come across as sophisticated or refined, I don't want the fragrance to punch the people in the face. So for me, performance-wise, this one is right where it should be. I have not yet smelled the others in this line, Majestic Cashmere, Exotic Musk, and it's possible that those are more exciting releases, but this one does exactly what I want it to do. It's a high quality vetiver, the performance is just right, and it has you smelling like somebody who has an air of provenance about them, somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody that's accomplished things and is going to accomplish even more. That's what this has you smelling like. And that's why when Max Aroma reached out and said, hey, pick one of these 3 and you can go ahead and review it, I picked Wild Vetiver. Vetiver is just a note that really works for me. Now, as far as the gift card giveaway, if you want to be entered in that, again, $88 to Max Aroma, leave a note below in the comment section saying that you want to be entered in the giveaway, and let me know which of the 3 fragrances from this collection sound most interesting to you. So there's Wild Vetiver, Majestic Cashmere, and Exotic Musk. Also, like this video, of course, and be subscribed to the channel. 1 week from today, I'll pick a comment using Random Comment Picker, and I will post that to the community tab of my YouTube page. You have to be subscribed to the channel in order to see that. It will pop up on your YouTube homepage when I make that post. You'll be able to see it if you're subscribed. And whoever won, you can contact me, and I will send that gift card on to you, and you can use it on whatever you want. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me with Bentley Wild Vetiver. As I said, fantastic release. It has really grown on me. As always, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today, and thanks for all your support. I'll see you all again tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.